Consumer spending habits are totally different today than they were before COVID. People are using credit cards less and paying off their credit card debts.
A lot of people don't like the idea of revolving credit card debt, and they know that they pay a lot in interest on the revolving debt, but a lot of times that's something that they can't help. People aren't spending as much because you can't go out of your house as much. People are taking advantage of that opportunity to kind of take some debt off their own personal balance sheet.
While millennials are shunning consumer debt and spending more online, companies that offer buy now, pay later options are growing in popularity. If you've ever tried to purchase something online, during checkout there may be an option to pay in installments, so you don't have to pay for everything up front. That's what Affirm does.
When you want to buy something new and you don't want to add it to your revolving credit card debt, essentially through Affirm, you can see what you're going to pay in interest upfront. So it might say, all right, for this new watch, you're going to pay $200 and you're going to pay it off in 6 weeks. And you're going to pay, whatever amount of money every 2 weeks to pay it off. That is different from when you have revolving credit card debt. There is compounding interest. If you have the same $200 expense and you only pay $20 a month or $50 a month, you are still paying interest on the balance, the rest of it that you haven't paid off. So the interest compounds and you end up paying more in interest.
Affirm is valued at about $26 billion, and they expect to make over $760 million in revenue in 2021. They make money from consumers in the form of interest rates.
Max Levchin is the co-founder and CEO of Affirm, and the people I talk to would describe him as really all business. He's very competitive. He's a serious guy. So I think roughly half of the time it's charging interest to consumers, and that ranges from 0 to 30%. On average, from one set of loans that it has issued, I think the average interest rate was about 24%.
And they make money from merchant fees too.
So merchants pay every time a customer buys one of their products and uses Affirm. And the reason they pay, the argument Affirm makes is that people buy more when you have Affirm, when you can use Affirm. These retailers see higher order sizes, they see more orders when they enable something like Affirm, and they decide, okay, it's worth it to pay this, 4, 5, 6% fee. So that I get more volume, I get more sales.
According to consulting firm Oliver Wyman, Americans spent over $20 billion using buy now, pay later programs in 2020.
Two of the probably most notable competitors are Afterpay, which is based in Australia but has a big US presence, and Klarna, which is based in Sweden but also has a big US presence. And so their fees are a little lower. On average, I believe Afterpay is 4 to 5%, Klarna, I believe 3 to 4%, and Affirm roughly 6%. I asked them this recently, why will people pay these higher fees? And what Affirm will say is that, we're delivering a better experience. It's easy to use Affirm. We don't have late fees. Some merchants like that. Afterpay and Klarna do have late. If you don't pay on time, there are late fees. And so I think those are some of the reasons that a merchant will choose Affirm over Klarna or Afterpay. But Affirm isn't a bank. They don't have a base of deposits they can go off of. So they need to fund their loans by basically packaging them into a security, and then the securities get sold to other investors. They're good at this capital markets aspect of funding the loan, getting funding for the loans, and selling them at a reasonable cost to Affirm, because Affirm has to pay to do this. It's not that easy to fund these really big $2,000 loans. And so that is another, I think, competitive advantage that they say they have is being able to fund these bigger loans.
People processed $2.1 billion in transactions through Affirm in the last quarter of 2020. Like Affirm, these programs are popular with consumers because they see what they're paying for upfront, instead of being hit with credit card interest rates later.
It helps with budgeting. There's kind of an end date. You need to pay this off in 2 months, and so it gives you, I think it gives more financial discipline. You can't just kind of keep kicking the can down the road and say, all right, I'm only going to put $20 towards this month or $30, pay the minimum on my credit card. I think it really causes you to have more financial discipline, and I think people like that too. I think that they're going to expand into different financial services, but I don't think it'll be like 2020 where it grew like crazy. I mean, I think it was a unique year. I think that you had the stimulus, you had a lot of economic uncertainty where people were afraid to use their credit cards. I think, you're going to see people eventually moving back to credit cards a little bit more. That would be my guess, as there's less financial uncertainty. And so I don't think it will grow as much as it did in 2020, but I think they'll keep growing.